Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. I just got her hair down this morning. Look. I got the grey done. The dark is in. I've got the slate grey at the front. So I'm going to hang on for a second and have some of you guys come along and say hello. Say good day. It is Tuesday. My gosh. It is Tuesday already. Like, what is even going on? Who is first past the post this morning? It is Vicky Head is first past the post this morning. Good morning, Vicky Head. Hello. Good morning. Rosie Wood in the house. Good morning. I slay it. It's my feeling myself this morning. So I am definitely digging the grey. I'm going to take my earphones off and actually show you what's happening here. So in the picture that I took last night, I had the proper ring light on. You couldn't really see what was going on, but I looked fly because filters and lighting and makeup rock my world as well. It is incredibly good news that this morning we could talk more on that. We've got the incredible Manisha Shah joining us in just a few minutes time. But so here's what happened at hairdressers yesterday. So as you know, around here and here, there's been a lot of grey going on anyway for weeks and weeks and weeks. Well, for years, but I've been dyeing it all kinds of reds and stuff. And I thought, you know what? I want to explore growing it out and explore, is it going to make me look old? Is it going to make me look does it even matter? Someone beautifully put this on my Instagram the other day, that some people don't have the blessing to grow old. Some people don't grow old, grow grey even. Some people don't have aren't blessed with the time to grow old and grow grey. And I just thought, well, you know what? I mean, I'm 36, but this is the grey that's been happening since I was 19. And, it's a little bit of an exploration. So first of all, I want to thank Emma Roscoe. Emma Roscoe shaved her head for the big festoon a few weeks ago, the other month even now. And we have been speaking since about hair and what hair means to us, and it means lots of different things in lots of different ways. And I was like, do you know what? It's interesting because I've been dyeing my hair since I was 19. Well, since even before that, really. And I wonder what I can do to kind of explore what it is to go grey. How will I feel? How will people perceive me? So it's a little bit of an exploration into that. But I'm not gonna lie, you guys, I'm digging on it. I am absolutely digging on it. And I was digging on it anyway. I was kind of digging the Badger Stripes. Went into the colorist at Tony and Guy. And I was like, look, this is what's happening. And even the person that was cutting my hair said so many more people after lockdown or, coming through the situation with, 5 months worth of roots. We're kind of like, you know what? Let's just stick it out and see. And a lot of people have found that, one or two things. One is that they absolutely terribly missed it and they couldn't wait to get their hair did and go back to that kind of every 6 weeks, go and getting everything topped up. But conversely, a lot of people found that it became a chore and that they want something a little bit lower maintenance. So when this grows through, you should be able to it will just be my normal grey growing through, and there won't need to be any much more work done on it. And then at the back here, so this is obviously like a dye over my hair because of the bleach and the red that was on it. But that's the colour of my hair. That's like my hair that's been the colour of my hair since we were little. I went to go and show my mum. My mum and my stepdad are having to isolate at the moment. My stepdad's having an operation in a couple of weeks. But I went to go and knock on my mum's window to go and show her, and she nearly cried because she was like, oh my God, it looks like my baby again with the proper colour hair. Because it's the first time she's seen me with my normal hair colour. Obviously, apart from at the front, since my wedding 4 years ago. And even before then, it was a blue and all sorts of colours. So we'll see. I am a fickle friend to my hair, but I really want to look after the condition of it. I really want to, I don't want to beat it anymore. So there we go. There's my great update. I am enjoying it. I am digging on it. It looks like you guys are too. Thank you very much. Joanne would love to be white, great. Yeah, I want this lighter next time, I think. I think it needs to be more white as opposed to kind of slate. When I looked at the picture that I took last night, I was like, can you tell? Can you tell? I don't know. Good morning, Bavna. Hello. Bavna was our guest on the show on Friday. Really interesting conversation with the incredible Bavna. Friday just gone. On all things divorce. Really, really interesting conversation around divorce. Do go check that out if you haven't seen that on Friday. Really interesting conversations that we had Friday just gone. You look fantastic, Heckler, really suits you. Thank you. It lends itself very nicely to a red lip, which I am a fan of. I love your hair. Thank you, Facebook user. If you are in the hive and you are watching, please make sure that you give permission to StreamYard so that we can see your name. What's the weather doing where you guys are? I'm not gonna lie, you guys, it's a little bit shit here in Preston this morning. We've had 2 days of sunshine. We've been blessed now. That's it. It's given us the clouds back. We're back to grey skies in the Preston area. What's happening where you are? If you have just joined us, this is your first time, don't worry. I'm not a proper weather person. It's just something to chat about. It's something to talk about as we kick things off in the day, popping our head outside. The only real scientific way to know what's going on with the weather is to actually look at it. What's the weather doing where you are? It looks amazing. Started going great since I was 19 too. And you embrace it too, Phyllis, and you look glorious. It's sunny in Portsmouth. It's a Scud show in Portsmouth. Of course it is. It always is. There we go. Am I there? It's somewhere around there. It's definitely at the bottom, isn't it, Portsmouth? Blue skies in Scotland. Good. I'm pleased for the blue skies in Scotland. There we go. There's Kaylee up at the top there. Devon is blue skies. Oh, Rosie. Of course it is. There we go. Devon and Cornwall having a little bit of a sunny bee there. What about you guys? Where are you in the world? I know we have a global audience. Where are you watching from? We normally have the south of France tuning in, Austria, Italy, New Zealand. We have all kinds of places tuning in. We've been known to have Las Vegas in the house. So I want to know, even if you're watching on the replay, what is popping where you are? Let us represent you up here by the compass if you are one of our international viewers this morning. Let's have a look. If you are watching on my personal profile, Dani Wallace, I won't be able to see what you're telling me what the weather's doing. So I do apologise if I don't shout you out. It is silver-lined, greyish, fluffy clouds in Brum. I like your spin on it, but that sounds like it's a bit shit, as opposed to sunny. It is sunny in Bromley. Is that sunny in Bromley? We got Bromley's the London area, isn't it? So let's get a sunny bee over there. It's raining in Cheshire. Let's move the Preston bee up and let's get a little rainy bee happening in the Cheshire area. It's posh in Cheshire, honey. All right. Enough of that. Enough of this. Oh, I told you yesterday that the waitlist to be heard, so you want to be a speaker, is opening this week, and you lot went absolutely nuts for it. So I'm going to be releasing that on Friday to celebrate our 100th show. I've got some surprises for you over the course of the show on Friday, which I'm super excited about. So not only do we have the fabulous Charlotte Carter who's going to be joining us, I'm going to have a couple of other surprises and a couple of other guests on the show as well. And I might even run a little cheeky competition for you, which is excited. So make sure you join us on Friday. All right, let's get the show on the road. Speaking of all things beauty, speaking of all things hair, we have got an incredible guest on with us this morning. The beauty industry, the wedding industry, the events industry has took a hell of a hit over the course of COVID, and we're going to be chatting about that this morning, how this incredible superwoman has pivoted her business and managed over the last 5 months. Please welcome to the show the glorious, the insanely talented, the London beauty stylist, Manisha Shah.
Hi. Oh, let me move that back a bit. Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you? You look
good. Yeah, I was just watching along there. That's amazing. I love your little weather forecast thing. That's really funny.
It's my shit weather.
I love it.
It's the shit weather forecast. What's it like where you are?
It's nice here. I'm in London.
Oh, London's got a sunny bee. We've sorted London out already.
Yeah, it's really nice here. So yeah, I'm doing well.
Nice.
It's so funny because I'm not really a morning person. I'm never. I set my alarm really early this morning. My husband was like,
"Are you okay, hon?"
And I was like, "Yeah." I was like half asleep, and I was like, "Yeah, I'm on a chat show," and he's like, "What?"
What I love that this show has just become itself. Like, for the guests, they're like, I'm on the telly. And do you know what? I've done this. This is, we're at 95, 97 episodes. You're our 97th guest. And it has kind of become itself. So even though we're in our small little community, it's my fake telly show. If I keep doing it, hopefully we'll grow the audience so much that it'll just be a telly show anyway.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm on a chat show this morning.
A chat show in the morning, it's fine. It's not just a live. It's not, just a live in some weirdo's bedroom or anything like that, which is exactly what it is. We're on the Facebook telly in the morning, babes. That's what we're doing.
Yeah. I haven't done my makeup yet. I thought I'd do it while I was on camera.
I love it.
Yeah, because I do that quite a lot on my Instagram, on my Facebook and stuff like that. People really enjoy that. It's the therapeutic process.
It's also cathartic, isn't it?
I've just woken up with a sty, so I might do half.
Do a half.
I might do that. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to start doing it while you.
No, please do. And I wish we'd have spoke about this before, because one of my favourite things to do when I'm live is put my makeup on and chat to people. But what happened is that when we first started doing this show, some of the topics got so serious that it felt rude of me to be putting my makeup on, and people were talking about their survival stories, and I'm like, they're like this, getting ready for the day, because the last 7 years that I've been going live, that's what I've been doing. I've been a singer, and what I was doing is I would go to a gig and there would be no dressing room for the gig, as is the case for quite a lot of the gigs that I would do. Yeah. So I would use my car as my dressing room. So I would prop my phone up and just put my makeup on in the car whilst I was chatting.
They just a lot of people say that it's therapeutic for them, which is
I would get blokes that would watch and go, I just tuned in and now I can't stop watching you put your face on, Dani. I can't stop watching. I feel like I should be putting a little bit of eye makeup on whilst you're doing that. Now, what are we going for today with the half and half? I'm not going to do a lot. I just feel like I need to up my shadow game if this is what's going on. I'm so here for this. Oh, you're making my day. Manisha, tell us a little bit more about what you do. So you are the London beauty stylist, right?
Yeah. So that's my brand name. The London beauty stylist. Obviously, yes, I'm a London-based bridal makeup artist. I specialize specifically in bridal.
Yeah.
And I've been doing that for about 5 years. On and off. I come from a very corporate background. I used to be an IT consultant. Working for one of the big consulting companies, and then I was actually self-employed when I was doing that. I was like a consultant,
like a freelance consultant sort of stuff.
Yeah, exactly. I was a freelance consultant, but it was just so boring to me. It was really, really well paid, a really, really well paid job, but it was just really boring. So I thought, well, okay. I finished that, and I thought, what can I do? Honestly, I was just like, what can I do? What shall I do? And I had already learned some basics with makeup before, but I just thought, let's try it. Let's go for it. See what happens. I was in a fortunate position. I don't have a rags to riches story. It was probably a little bit the other way around, to be honest, because I went from a 6-figure salary to nothing, and having to build that up gradually over time. So I'd taken a massive cut. And so that's kind of my journey. I've been doing that for 5 years. About 4 years ago is when I decided that I needed to diversify. I couldn't do just makeup on its own. It just wasn't
enough.
Yeah, it's not feasible.
And there's a glass ceiling on it, isn't there? There's only so many faces that you can do in an event. There's only so many faces you can do in a day. Who wants the makeup doing on a Tuesday afternoon? It's that sort of stuff, isn't it?
Exactly. And the thing is that because I specialize in just bridal makeup as well, it's even more niche, and I don't do hair. So I niched down quite a bit, which I love a good niche. Like, I love niching down on things. I think it's better because you can target people that you want to, you know, target better. But I realized, like, quite early on, that it wasn't really going to happen in like, you know, and I hear it all the time because I teach makeup as well. And I hear it all the time, people saying, oh, I just want to leave my job, I want to do this full time. And I'm just like, ooh, you know, yes, it can be great. I'm not saying it can't be, but for me, my philosophy is to diversify. And that's what I did. So about, I said I was going to do a half face, but I've just kind of started doing.
You've gone anyway. You can't. It's like muscle memory, isn't it? You just start doing it.
I'm so used to doing it like quickly. Anyway, so what happened is about 4 years ago is when I decided to. I set up an Amazon business. So I was really looking into how I can sort of create some passive income. Actually, that was one of my things. And I looked into so many different avenues. I looked into property was one of the bigger ones that I looked into, and I it's not for me. It's not for me.
Yeah, and when the conversations around passive income first start happening, property is one of the first things that comes up. And even though once you get established, yes, it generates a degree of passive income. There's a lot that's involved in property maintenance and property purchasing and renting, and then short-term lets and dealing with tenants. You know, tenants are a hard beast altogether.
Honestly, I spent a lot of money. So I joined up to like this mastermind thing, and I spent so much money. It was like, like if I think about how much I spent on it, it's painful.
Was it specifically property?
Yeah, it was a property.
Was it a rich dad, poor dad situation? Do you know which one I mean? There's a book called Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and there's lots of, and the idea is that you build portfolios, and that portfolio could be art, or that portfolio could be houses, but a portfolio of something that is going to increase in value as opposed to decrease in value.
Okay, so this was specifically property mastermind. It was called property. So I joined up to it. I was working with a friend, and we were like, let's do it. Yeah, you know, but they like, you go to these events and they
run to the back of the room.
And I was just like, oh my God. So we did it. And then halfway through, we realized, I realized as well, especially that I didn't really want to do this. Like, I just thought it was the thing that I should do, because when I had the consulting business, when I was a consultant, independent consultant, I saved up a lot of money. So I was like, what do I do with all this money? Like, honestly, one of those situations where I was like, I can put this into something and create a new business, but what? And so I decided property because, you know, that seems to be the thing. And then, but while I was on that, I realized, I found out about the Amazon business model.
Okay.
And the Amazon business model is sort of like, it's FBA, which means fulfilled by Amazon. So what it is I send products to Amazon. I've got my own brand of products. I send those to Amazon, and I fulfill them. Sorry, Amazon fulfill them for me. So I don't do anything. I don't touch the product at all. And so I decided to have a go at that. And actually, my first round of doing that, again, I probably lost around £10,000 because I didn't really know what I was doing.
Yeah, you've got to learn how to do it. It was with anything that involves money. If you don't know how to do it, you're probably gonna trip in the first instance whilst you learn. But you've got to pay for any kind of schooling, right?
It's the same thing, isn't it? It's paying for schooling, I suppose. Yeah. So I did that, and then I was like, no, I'm going to keep going with this. I think that I'm onto something. So I carried on. And all the time, this while I was also building my makeup business as well. And I just, I finally found something that worked for me. And so I did, for a long time, I did both of those things together. So it was makeup and the Amazon business, those two together. And then, you know, actually I started thinking about well, actually, you know, when I do training, when I train makeup artists, a lot of them come to me and they ask me other questions. So, for example, Instagram, how do I build my Instagram?
Yeah.
How do I, like, you know, business? How do I take photos? There were so many questions I was getting asked. I thought, you know, there's actually no one around that's really giving advice on the business side of things.
On the business side, and this is it with the beauty business, I guess. There's lots of influencers out there that do the makeup and that do the tutorials. Tutorials are big business, particularly on YouTube and Instagram. But I can't see anybody out there teaching you how to set that stuff up. How do you get the traction? How do you get the followers? How do you get the interaction? How do you get the bookings off of the back of that? All of that stuff.
Yeah. So so, you know, originally I said, you know, how I pivoted in my business. It was actually around October last year that I set up a Facebook group, which is called Business of a Beauty Stylist. So I kept my beauty stylist thing in there.
Yeah.
But it's more the business side of things. Yeah. So I started that in October, and I gradually built that up, you know, with Instagram and all of my, like, you know, following and everything, built that up quite organically. Yeah. And then obviously COVID hit.
Yeah.
And, you know, we suddenly got ourselves into this situation where we couldn't work. Like,
yeah.
Let me just do my contour. I see that your contour. Some of this, like, when I put my face on it, it ends up looking really pale at first, and then I'm like, no, wait,
wait, I'm not done.
Before it gets better. So yeah, I set up this Facebook group, and the Facebook group was for business advice,
right?
Predominantly, it's still there. It's still there, open. And, you know, I set up the group, and I was just kind of like letting it grow and nurturing, you know, and all that kind of stuff. And then around May time is when I released a course. So my first course was for Instagram, but it was specifically for the beauty niche. So how to do your Instagram, the basics, what to do. And like I had
hashtags and all of that sort of stuff.
Yes, everything like that. Hashtags, your bio, how to navigate, like, the video side of things, your layout, how everything, like, you know, all of that good stuff. And I did that for May to June. Around that time, I had 3 intakes of the course. I really didn't know what to expect, honestly. I was just
this is during COVID.
Yeah, this was during COVID.
So okay, wait, let's go back. So you've got this successful beauty business where you're doing makeup artistry. You've got the successful Amazon business where you've learned how to make all of that work for you, where you've got a core offering of products, but Amazon fulfill that for you, and then you just sort of, I guess, manage the reviews and everything that happens within that sort of space where you buy, make sure that you're using all the right keywords, making sure that it's prominent so where people search, or all of that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And then COVID hit, and just like with a lot of the beauty industry, the entertainment industry, the hospitality industry, the whole leg is kicked out. In that moment, what were you thinking in that moment? So there's this run up, and there's these 2 weeks where nobody knows what the fuck's going on. Like, I remember just having, people were scared. There'd been no official announcement, but already stuff was starting to be cancelled. And I was like, God, where are we going? What is going to happen? How did you feel when all that was going off? What were you thinking?
I think the worst thing for me, again, coming from someone who it wasn't immediately about the money. I wasn't like, oh my gosh. It was
same.
It was, oh my God, my clients, like,
yes,
the weddings, what's going to happen with them? They're going to all try. I was really hoping that everyone would move to their weddings to winter.
Yeah.
It didn't happen. A lot of people, there are still a lot of weddings in winter now, but most people have moved to 2021. And at the beginning, I did think, oh my gosh, like, everyone's, you know, this whole year is a write-off. Like, what are we going to do? And then in the group as well, like, you know, feeling their kind of pain as well, like how they were feeling and the stress and, you know, kind of like the arguments, not arguments, but, you know, the kind of hostility around, well, you know, I want my deposit back. And is that the right thing to do?
Yes. Is that the right thing to do? And as a leader, so this is kind of what I'm getting at. As a leader, that's difficult. That's difficult to take on your shoulders when you have a community, when not only you're confused because you don't know what's going on, but your people are confused, your audience are confused. Again, in the entertainment industry, the whole deposit thing was like, you pay a deposit just in case something gets cancelled. But wait a second, nobody's got any choice in this. And I had this conversation right at the start, and my very first instinct was, no, I shouldn't have to pay back the deposit. That's got to protect me. And then I realized that actually everyone's affected. I can't do anything about it. And it's right and proper that I look after that customer and give that customer the money back. But it's really hard when you've got a business. I'm just so grateful, like you, that it wasn't my sole source of income. So the fear didn't override everything.
Yeah. And honestly, I felt the same way. I'm not going to lie. When I was like, I can't refund everyone. And if people move to 2021, then they're going to have to pay a surcharge, blah, blah, blah. As things, like, so basically what I was telling clients is, you know, let's just see what happens.
Sit tight, breathe.
When we went into lockdown in the UK, I was abroad. I was in Japan, and Japan wasn't in lockdown. So it's fine. I'd gone before anything got bad in the UK, and then, like, obviously things got really bad in the UK, and I think there was a lot of, like, people feeling extremely down at that point, right? Because like you said, people were confused. And I think, as being someone who has the group and everything, my thing was, like, just sharing resources as much as possible, the right thing to do, and having discussions about it, because it did get to the stage where I think there was a lot of, you know, there's a lot of back and forth. People are upset, they're emotional. Still, people are like that right now, because obviously in the beauty industry, we still haven't been given the go ahead to go back to work.
No. Is it masks, shielding? Hairdressers can do it. Blokes can go to the barbers and go and get the beards trimmed, but women can't go and get their eyebrows done. It's so strange.
Yeah. And this morning, actually, I woke up to see that one of big beauty influencer has started up a charity. Her name's Caroline Hirons. I think it's Hirons. I don't know how to say that. She's like a hair expert. And she's just started a charity, actually. It's called Beauty Stack. Help people, because obviously, like, you know, and the thing is that sometimes I see how many businesses are affected by this, and I just think, you know what, I'm fine. Honestly, I don't need to worry, like, too much. Like, my sister-in-law told me an instance where ice skating rink had been, so they, you know, ice skating rinks aren't allowed to go back to work yet.
No. And they only got told the day before they were meant to open on Friday that they couldn't open. Yeah,
we got told too. So it was like, oh my gosh. But then when she told me the story about one of the ice skating rinks and how they had been preparing for 4 weeks, they had staff and all this stuff, I just thought, oh my God, like, that's just a nightmare, honestly. Yeah. But so when the whole situation with COVID and everything, and, you know, I've been supporting, and I've said to people, like, right now is the time where you can concentrate on building your audience, because I'm a believer in, obviously, or I don't know if it's obvious, but it is to me, is that not one of those things where you build and people will come. You have to build an audience.
And lots of people do this. Lots of people do a thing and they put it out there, and they, just because it's become very important to them, they expect it to have become all of a sudden very important to everybody else. And it's not that. Like, I used to work in makeup. I mean, I worked in a multi-level marketing company a couple of years ago. And I would get people. I had a successful team. I really enjoyed it. It was great. But you would get people come into the team and do a post about a mascara, and then expect all the world and his dog to fall over themselves and buy a mascara from you. Well, why, when it's not important to them? You've got to make it important to them by showing up really consistently, doing the things, sharing how good the mascara is, or sharing how good can we just take a second to appreciate your eyebrows and your highlight, by the way? I was like seeing you just in them cheeks with that icy sugar, and I was like, yes. So, and this is the same with any business, regardless of what industry that you're in. If you are wanting to gain traction and you are wanting to grow your audience, you have to be consistent. You have to show up, and you can't just pop a post out there and say, okay, everybody, I'm going to open my diary for bookings now, and then expect all the world and his dog to fall over themselves if you are not established.
Yeah. And I think the other thing is that I come from a unique background in that I've done the corporate thing. I also have a product-based business as well as a service-based business too. So it's like, okay, I can see from different points of view what's like, okay, so one of the things that I see a lot of is coming up with an offer. So like, you know, oh, I'm going to do Zoom classes. And what people don't realize is that there is a lot of planning and strategy behind, like, you know, like when you're launching something, you don't just launch it. It's not like you just said, you don't just put it on your stories and think, I hope people buy it. I hope people.
You're right, everybody. And then whinge that nobody bought it.
Exactly. Like, so I had been doing, so since October, my free Facebook group had been there. And I had been, you know, consistently showing up every single week, doing lives, you know, providing value to the people in the group. So when COVID did hit, and I came up with a solution to help them with their, you know, what can we do right now? What can we concentrate on? Well, yes, you can concentrate on your social media. That's something you can control, because right now there's so many things you can't control, and this is one of the things you can. So let's work on this aspect of it. So I launched my course. And yeah, like you said, it's interesting because I see it from a point of view where, you know, people are just coming out with these things, and they're just all like, even websites, you know, like online stores and stuff. And, you know, oh, there's so much to it. You know, you've got to like potentially do Facebook ads or Google ads, or you know,
build a list, speak to the list, like speak to people consistently. And it can take weeks in order for that to start to pay dividends, sometimes months. And some of these people don't have, you know, weeks or months. So in terms of pivoting for you, what has that looked like? So you've been offering more of the business side of the beauty stuff during COVID, is that right?
Yes. I actually, about a month ago, I started a membership as well.
Amazing.
Yeah, so the membership, so to be honest, I've had to kind of move quite quickly with everything, and I was a bit confused myself. Like, I was like, I know I want to help like people with the other side of not just like, because there's plenty of people out there showing people how to do makeup, you know. So I was like, what is my thing? Like, what did I do? And I know it sounds really ridiculous, but
it was.
What exactly have I done in my life? Like, you know, and I thought, okay, so what I did is I built up, I concentrated nearly fully on Instagram. So I have a decent sized following on Instagram. And I
get for numbers sake, how many of people are following you on Instagram? Just for numbers, so we can get an idea.
26.3K. So,
that's a few.
Yeah. But that was because I very early on, like 5 years ago, is when I decided like I need to concentrate on just one platform. And so that was kind of my thing. And then I thought, well, what exactly did I do? So what I did is I grew that platform, and then that's when I introduced things like I also like diversify in terms of like, so I set up a drop shipping store as well.
Yeah.
So like even things like, you know, my makeup brushes that I use, I've got an online store for that now. It's only been about a month that I've had that. So there's plenty of things that I feel that I can do now. Affiliate marketing is one of the big ones for me as well. So e-commerce, affiliate marketing, having like a product-based business, having an online-based business as well. These are the things that I've done myself. So this is
a classic example of when you're saying diversifying. If we give it another term and call it multiple revenue streams, having different ways to have money coming through to you, that if the shit hits the fan then you've got something. It's not all just stopped. And I think that is what has I think this is the biggest business learn throughout most industries, and it's been a timely one. One of my coach and mentor, Lisa Johnson, is like, you can't do one thing. Don't do just one thing, because if you do one thing, if something happens to that one thing, you're fucked. So pardon my language, but it's having that diversification. They don't all have to be things that you love. They all don't have to be passion projects. You've got the application, the tutorials, and the potential to do weddings, when that comes along, to do the passion stuff. But actually being nimble and being quick and thinking a couple of steps ahead and thinking, if this gets kicked out, what else have I got, protects you from things like this. So that then you can think you've got bandwidth to think about other ways that you can help your audience now.
So that's the thing, is like, but if you don't have the audience in the first place, then you can't necessarily, you can, but you have to have people to like buy your stuff.
Sell to no one.
So it's like, well, you've got for me, it's like Instagram. I use that. And then I decided to grow that. And I did a lot of one-to-one and stuff like that. And now I'm moving on to doing more of the, I guess what you would say is one-to-many, right?
Yeah.
So the membership, the Instagram course. Once we do go back, if I was going to teach makeup, it wouldn't be in one-to-one anymore. And that's what this period of time has taught me as well, is to be a bit more like, stop thinking that you have to do everything one-to-one. Even for me, because I was still doing one-to-one classes and stuff, and now things are starting to ease up. People are asking me for one-to-one, and I'm like, I don't really want to do that anymore.
So it takes up a lot, doesn't it? It takes up a lot.
It's very it's energy. There's a lot of energy that goes into all this stuff. So in terms of like how I'm continuing is going to be the membership, the Instagram course, which I got, I really didn't know what to expect from it, to be honest. And I completely, it was kind of like beta. It was a beta one, and I just really didn't know what to expect. And I got really good feedback on it. So I'm like, amazing. But I'm working on, and I'm working on updating it at the moment, so I can relaunch it in a little, in a couple of months maybe. But that's it really for me. It's just, I feel like I have so much knowledge of all different areas of being able to add streams of income to your business as a makeup artist, not just as a makeup artist, but as someone in the beauty industry. And that's kind of like that's how I feel that's my niche now. It's like, okay, so you're in the beauty industry, you've got this one leg, I see as a table, like there's the table thing, the one leg, and like if that leg crumbles, what are you going to do? What are you going to, let's try and build that so you've got like a more of a, stronger bit. I can't remember the word. Not strong, but
more
stable.
solid. You've got solid foundations on which to build, and then all of the passion stuff you build on top of that anyway. Do you excuse me, do you find that within the industry, when people are starting, so often with beauty, you get a lot of apprentices that come through, you get a lot of people that choose vocational ways of learning coming through. Do you find that this particular topic is undertaught within the people that are coming through the colleges, the unis, all of that sort of stuff?
I definitely think so. And I don't think that, again, it's it's something that people don't really know that they need until you have to hit them and say, this is something that's got, especially with what's happened. It's really important. And I'm so glad that I did, I had the foresight to think about things in that way, because a lot of people did. That's why they're, potentially that's why they're very, very upset right now. And, there's been a lot of, people are just very, very upset, but there's not enough in terms of business education either, generally. I feel
absolutely.
Not even just because there's lots of private academies and stuff like that teach makeup or beauty or lashes, nails, all of that stuff. It's just people
all
at home that do it
stuff.
So there's a lot on the technical side, and then they just are left to it. This is makeup. I always say that it's not necessary. You don't necessarily have to be the best at what you do. You have to be better at marketing yourself and being a business person, right?
Yeah. Yes.
That is something that people don't realize in this industry. They're like, oh, I need to do another course. I need to be better.
I need to be the best at eyebrows, or I need to be the best at lashes, or I need to be the best at bridal makeup. But actually what you need to be is very good and very skilled.
Exactly.
But even more good and even more skilled at putting yourself forward, because it really is about how the dial is turned up on you and your brand and how people perceive you. It's interesting. There's a couple of people who are just asking, Manisha, have you got any tips on how to grow your Instagram following?
Yes. Okay. So tips on how to grow my Instagram. There's multiple things, but I think that the main thing, especially if you're like at the sort of smaller stage, let's say you're 0 to 100, is posting consistently, and be like, honestly, posting like nearly every day, I would say, and then engaging with people, using stories, because a lot of people don't use stories, and I think that's a really big mistake that a lot of people make.
It's two whole audiences. People scroll stories to catch up with stuff, and the better stuff that you've got, the further you get served up. So the people that I watch all the time are the first people that I see on stories. So if you're putting stories out there all the time, and people are watching, you're going to get served up to those people more often. It's easier for you to grow, right?
And the other thing is that I think that a lot of people expect that, again, it's a similar thing in terms of like, people just expect, oh, people will come to my profile, they'll find me, but they won't necessarily find you. You have to go out there and also look for these people. So I think one of the really important things is to try and figure out who you're actually targeting. Like, who is your audience? Like, when I say who is your audience, I don't mean like, oh, people that want to have their makeup done. I mean, are they what age are they? So this is like the ideal client exercise, but for your Instagram audience.
Right.
Because actually, if you know who those people are, you can really target them and
talk to them.
Yeah, exactly. I'm in a, it's lucky, like, for me, I am my target audience, really. I'm not a bride, but like,
lots of people are their own target audience. Like, my target audience is me 10 years ago.
Yeah.
That's who I talked to. I just talked to 10 years ago me, who didn't know everything that she knows now, didn't know that she was able to do the things that she is now. All of the skills that I had back then, but actually how to speak about them is all of the stuff that I teach now. Lots of people, let me know in the comments if this is you as well. When you really think about it, is your target audience past you, or are you fixing a problem that actually you had that you want to go and tell people about so they can fix the same problem? Because we all have the same problem.
That's the thing. I think content is so important as well, because again, I feel like a lot of people concentrate on how pretty their Instagram looks,
right?
But obviously, being in the beauty niche, we do want to represent ourselves in a way. We want it's
got to be aesthetically pleasing, of course.
Yeah, but what I find is a lot of people they do it at the detriment of their engagement and their things like that. They'll post like a quote and it'll be like, no one really wants to read that. Like,
you could be whoever you want to be, and you're like, but do my face though.
As the captions are really important now. There's so many things, but I think that to start with, to grow your audience, is just engaging with the right people. And it sounds really obvious, but like, if your target market like to shop at a certain place, or they're probably likely to use certain suppliers, then start to engage with those suppliers as well. It's about building relationships. It's not necessary. A lot of people think about the vanity metrics, but likes aren't going to pay your bills.
No, for sure.
So a lot of people,
we talk about this all the time with the like situation. It is better for anybody watching to have 400 raving fans than thousands of people who don't engage with you. It's better to start there. In fact, you're very blessed if you have a small audience right now, because you have an opportunity that if you learn well, that you bring all of these people on the journey with you, and they become advocates, and those advocates become advocates, and so on and so on and so on.
Oh, yeah, because the bigger you grow, the more ghost followers you get, and your engagement actually drops, because the way that the Instagram algorithm works is that you know, you put out your post, and if you put it out and people don't engage with it immediately, it will bomb. But if you put out a post and you've got a smaller audience and they engage straight away, then it will
be pushed out.
Yeah, so exactly. So it's actually great to have like a smaller engaged audience at the moment. I mean, I have 3 Instagram profiles, various businesses, and the one that is the smallest is the most engaged.
Right.
And, like, literally one of my posts the other day, one of my posts went viral. It's got like 16,000. Oh, it's got 17,000 shares. This one post.
Yeah.
This one post it probably got me about 300 followers, just this one post. So if you can work on your content, it's so important. But it's not like just any old thing. There's more to it than that. You know, there's a content strategy. There's what are people's pain points? What are people's, you know, what's really going to resonate with people, that they want to share that content as well. So there's so many different touch points in how to grow. That's why I created a course.
Of course, absolutely.
There's lots of different elements, and people, you know, how do I get on the explore page? Again, it's not just one thing. It's not one reason why you get on the explore page. Multiple reasons for it.
Yeah, absolutely. And so common questions for anybody who's a social media expert that come through. And we've just done the grow your audience one. Katie Louise, you just said, how would you suggest going about growing your Insta audience? We've just had a little talk about that. Consistency, posting regularly, making sure that content is relevant to your audience. So really the top things that came through from that little bit of the conversation. The other question that I get asked a lot, and I'm sure you will get asked a lot, is hashtags. And I know that there's some little surface bits and pieces that we can talk about around hashtags that I know will be helpful. But again, in terms of learning more about this, finding people like Manisha, there's lots of, you know, fabulous social media experts out there that can really dig deep around this. It is so multifaceted, but when you tick all the boxes, that's when the magic really happens, isn't it? So having the content right, having your captions right, having the hashtags right, and then that consistency is what as a whole really grows, you know, really helps you to grow. What tips do you have really quickly on hashtags?
Okay, I think sometimes hashtags are slightly misunderstood, in that I think people are just like, you know, they might use the spammy hashtags, for example, follow me, like for like, things like that. Those types of hashtags, nowadays, Instagram, like, almost see them as spam. So it's like, it's against, don't use them. Honestly, that's what I want to say. And also, if you've got a smaller audience, then you need your hashtags to be a bit smaller, because otherwise you're not going to get discovered. So for example, in my niche, if I was to use the hashtag makeup, if I look at how many people use that hashtag,
billions of people use that hashtag.
No one's ever going to find me with that hashtag. I need to be more niche with my hashtags. So for example, I think depending on your industry, for us as being in the beauty industry, location-based hashtags are really, really popular. Not popular, they're really useful. So something like, I live in West London, so West London makeup artist. So think about what your audience might be looking for. It's like a Google search term. You know, what are people going to type in Google? Are they going to type in London-based makeup artist? Or are they going to type in like something really generic like makeup? Probably not. They're probably, you know, the whole point of hashtags is so that we can be found by the people who are searching for our services, not necessarily like, yes, we'll get discovered by other people that are just browsing that particular hashtag. But really, if we want to like generate income on business from our hashtags and from our Instagram,
what are they searching for?
Think about what our clients are looking at. So I always say to people, don't use the generic ones. I can always see straight away when someone says to me, my hashtags aren't working, and I look at their hashtags and I can see they've got makeup, beauty, lipstick, and those are too generic. Like, you need, like, if you're wearing red lipstick, do put hashtag red lipstick, you know. Them a bit more specific to you. Like, mine are really, mine are very niche. Like, a lot of my hashtags are like Asian bridal makeup artist, or Indian bridal makeup artist, London-based makeup artist. And the other thing is, I wouldn't say use all of them. Like, maybe use 25, I would say, because, you know, every hashtag is an opportunity to be discovered. So if you use like 5 different hashtags, you're more likely to be, you know, you're not going to get flagged as spam as well.
Other things, it's worthwhile knowing when you're doing your research with your client as well. What other things do they look at? Where else do they hang out? So it might not necessarily just be I'm like Asian wedding makeup artist. It might be something else that is relevant to that demographic where they might just stumble across you. Because I've done that before, been scrolling through and seen something that looks really striking and go, I weren't looking for that thing in the first place, and it allowed me to get lost down the rabbit hole with that person. Thinking about, like, for me, particularly with speaking, people aren't necessarily looking for speaker coaches. They're not sat there going, oh, I must learn how to speak. So what I've got to do is I've got to get into the world of people who I know I can help, who might not necessarily be thinking about my products and services. So where do they hang out? What do they do? Where do they eat? All of this sort of stuff. It are ways that I can then get myself in front of them. Isn't necessarily just the speaker coach, help me speak, or all the things that, you know, you would think are obvious when you're a speaker coach. People aren't necessarily looking for you sometimes. You know, you've got to be able to place yourself in front of them. Where else do they hang out, and build that when you're thinking about your hashtag. I think it's a good idea.
It goes back to what the whole thing that we were saying before, where people feel sometimes people build and they expect people to come. It's a similar thing with Instagram. You know, people might not necessarily discover you from, because you know, people might discover you from the explore page. It might be your hashtags. It might be that someone shared your profile. There's so many different ways, but hashtags is obviously, it is a way for people to. The only thing that I would say is that try and keep your like, if you've got a picture of like a bee and you put hashtag dog, then obviously not really relevant. So there is that whole thing where you can actually unfollow people for various hashtags. Like, so, you know, so people follow hashtags nowadays as well. So let's say someone followed a hashtag speaker coach because they wanted to find speakers, and then they come across like a picture of a bee, not bee, sorry. Like they come across a picture of, a London bus.
Right. You're back.
Oh, so I use this example in my training is that, you know, I was looking for a makeup artist. I looked up London makeup artist as a hashtag, and I came across a picture of a London bus. So you can actually unfollow that account for that hashtag. So, you know, it's good to do, it's good to mix it up, but I wouldn't say like do it too much in terms of like using, you know, like if you're gonna post a picture of a dog, don't put hashtag makeup artist or something like that. Do you know what I mean? It has to be, it seems really obvious, but you know, and a lot of people use the same hashtags all the time as well, and that can be flagged.
Yeah, absolutely. You've got to kind of, is it have like sort of 5 or 6 bundles that you you intermittently use. If you use the same ones all the time, it's considered spammy behavior, and then you might end up getting shadow banned. And shadow banned is where it won't tell you, but Instagram will hold you back and not share you, so no one will see your content.
It's like, oh, does shadow ban exist or does it not? But you know, don't take the risk.
I think don't, because it's obvious when it happens.
Instagram has like a health score on everyone. You know, have you done shady things in the past? Have you bought followers? Have you bought likes? They have all. It's like if you think about your profile as having like a health, you know, like a, you know, I guess like a thermometer type. You want to keep your health up, because that means that Instagram will start to put even the new features, some of the new features that come out, some profiles won't have them, and it's because one of the reasons is because of their health score. So it's just about keeping your profile healthy as possible, and just doing it the right way, because you know lots of people are like all on the let's buy followers, let's buy likes, and it can really like affect your account, especially the engagement, and you just don't. I just don't think it's worth it. It's not worth it. It's not. The long haul, you know. Yeah.
It is more now about organic following than it ever has been. Yeah. You know, it did used to be the race to 10K or the race to, you know, getting verified or a blue tick or whatever. And it really isn't. Think about it as another revenue stream, as another way for your clients to get to you. And when you think about it like that, as opposed to getting hung up on the number or getting hung up on the followers or your engagement or whatever, when you think about it like that, it kind of changes the game a little bit, doesn't it, for the way that you might want to treat your Instagram. Joanne Smith's just asking, what about following back? Do you recommend following back?
I actually do. I do like to follow people back. Not everyone, because obviously I tend to follow people back if they are people in my industry. So like other makeup artists, other beauty, or even other smaller businesses, just support. And I think that's another thing, is that a lot of people, I don't know if it still happens now, but people are very hung up on their following being higher than their
followers. Oh, the other way around. Yeah.
And I've never been that type. Like the whole time I've had my Instagram profile, I've never thought about it in that way. I think that if someone supports me, I'm going to support them back. Like that's just the way I am. And so if someone, like, unless if it's a client, or if it's like I can tell that they're probably someone who's interested in makeup, I won't follow them, because a lot of the time they'll have like private accounts anyway. I'm not going to request to follow them. They didn't follow me for a follow back, but some businesses will follow you for the follow back, and I just follow them back. So. Yeah,
absolutely. I'm just trying to see if there's any other questions in here that might be relevant to us. We've got Asian bridal makeup artist as a length of hashtag, is that too long?
No. No. I use it.
Yeah. Well then no. So the answer is no. Cool.
Yeah.
Well, do you know what? We could be here talking about all kinds of things. I feel like you have created such incredible things by being nimble and by keeping your head above the parapet and not being scared. And I think that if anything we can learn from you this morning, I mean, as an aside for the incredible Instagram stuff, for the support that you provide to members of the beauty industry, particularly now, but the lesson for me this morning that I've taken from you, Manisha, is it is so important to think about those table legs. It is so important to think, okay, what can I do? I've stabilized this bit, this leg is established now, that's cool. Okay, what can I add into my arsenal? What can I add into my portfolio of offerings that is going to protect me, protect my family, protect my income, that if something was to happen to that, and then in the feast times you do well off all of them, and then in the famine times you've still got something to fall back on.
Yeah, because my Amazon business has kept me going throughout this.
Amazon's done a bomb.
Yeah, it really has. So kept me going, and even launching the Instagram course it helped me to recoup anything that I lost for probably not the year. Yeah, maybe even nearly the summer.
The majority of the year, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's the majority of the year, and it's not. We've got another month of sort of ambiguity, haven't we? Specifically around the industry. So, before you go, what are you looking forward to? Have you got anything coming up soon that we need to know about? Anything that you want to tell us about that we can get involved in?
Well, yes. So,
tell us.
Oh no, I mean, right now my Instagram course and my membership, the doors are closed, but I plan to reopen them around September time.
Brilliant.
September. Hopefully, people their kids will have gone back to school at that point. Because I know a lot of my audience are mums, and they're just they're overburdened, not overburdened, but you know what I mean. They're very busy with homeschooling, and
yeah, they are done.
They want to concentrate on themselves now. So I think that's a great time to bring out this, because I think that it's going to help a lot of people. My main focus is going to be on the membership and the Instagram course. Those are my two things, because the Instagram course helps you build and the membership helps you grow and diversify. So that's kind of like how I'm looking at it.
Brilliant.
I've just released a little freebie as well, which is like 50 content ideas. So if anyone's interested in that, then,
What was that? Sorry, 50?
Oh, sorry, not 50, sorry, 90 content ideas for your Instagram.
Oh, nice. Super, super helpful. And how can we get a hold of that? Will you be able to pop the link in?
Yes, I will.
Amazing. You don't have to do it right on the Queen Bee Dani page. If you pop it in the comments section, that's where all of our guests pop their, their freebies or their, their websites or their Insta handles. So then all of the people that have been watching today and the people that are watching on replay can come and find you and get into your world because you are glorious.
Thank you.
We've got a little question, but we're not going to spend a whole heap of time because we're running out of time. Katie Louise would love to know how you've mastered Amazon. Have you any plans for sharing that knowledge in the future?
I have thought about it, but it's a completely separate. Well, one part of it is that I will be including stuff about that in my membership.
Right.
But I have done webinars on it, not webinars, but like I've done free trainings on it in the past.
Got you.
And I've got one in my group actually that I've done. Yeah, it is something that I know about, and I know that a lot of people are really interested in it. But it's just
You've got how many plates do you want to spin all at once? You know, how many plates do you want to spin all at once? And the thing is, you might know something about something, but do you want to confuse people by being, you know, where is the expertise sitting? And that's for anybody out there.
A huge part of what I do, like, is one of my main legs, as you would say, right? So it's a huge part of what I do. It's just I haven't figured out how I would share it if I wanted to, because I think it's a huge responsibility. So it's not like you can put a couple of quid in and just, you know, make a business out of it. Like I've been my Amazon business is like 6-figure business now, but it was before it was, you know, I lost 10,000 the first time I did something. So it's a huge responsibility in that sense. And there's lots of training out there on it, but it's just doing it in the right way that I feel like it's responsible and not just.
It makes sense. It makes a whole heap of sense. Like, just because you know about something doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to want to teach it, and not because you want to keep that information to yourself. Like you said, sometimes doing something like that is a little bit of a gamble. And do you want to take that responsibility on? If the answer is no, and you've got other things that are doing the right, you know, that are less, that are like more kind of risk averse, I guess, that are still helping people create incredible businesses, then why not? Why not do that? But if you are, so Kate, if it is something you want to know more about, there will be a training in your group, won't there? If you know that you can go and have a little look at if you want to know a bit more. But there will be other training out there. Manisha, thank you so much for joining us this morning. It has been a pleasure, an absolute pleasure having you on. I can't wait to see all of the things that you get up to next, because when you find tenacious people in business, it's just I find it fascinating and so exciting to watch, and I can't wait to continue tracking and following your journey and have you on the show again in the not too distant future.
All right.
So that you're so welcome. You're so welcome, Manisha Shah. Everybody, the crowd go wild, and that was today's show. What an incredible, absolute powerhouse of a Wonder Woman that lady is. In terms of diversifying, in terms of, you know, multiple revenue streams, this is definitely something that within our little world, the conversations that go on all the time, there's lots of different people that you can go to go and learn about things like passive income, things like multiple revenue streams. In the beauty industry particularly, go seek out Manisha Shah for business support. There are people like the fabulous Lisa Johnson out there that talk about multiple revenue streams. If you're in the wedding industry, go and speak to the fabulous Deep Bajwa from the Luxury Wedding Lounge. There are so many incredible people out there that will help you with that. If you do want to know where you can find out more about those things, do ask questions in the comments. We do check in with them and we'll go and answer them. And of course, if you are an expert in those particular fields, network, you guys, network. That is the point. You can carry on the conversation regarding that over in the IATQB Hive. If you are not a member already, there are 1,000 of us fabulous queen bees, king bees, royal bees in there, continuing on the conversation, carrying on the networking and using each other as a support to show up, wise up and rise up. That has been the name of the show. My name is Dani Wallace. I am the queen bee. So are you. And I will see you tomorrow with the incredible Fidel Bohill. Do not miss that. The modern man is going to be joining us tomorrow. We are going to get controversial. I am excited. Please do join us 8 o'clock tomorrow. 8 o'clock every morning, Monday to Friday, on here, the Queen Bee Dani page on Facebook. I'll see you in the morning. Tra.